The millionaire burst out laughing when she refused to apologize, mocking her in front of everyone, drunk on power and pride. But then the security cameras kept rolling, and the world watched in disbelief as the cleaning lady he tried to humiliate unleashed the kind of calm that only soldiers earn in war. In seconds, the man who owned everything realized he'd just picked a fight with the wrong woman, one whose past could end his empire. It happened so fast, no one had time to understand what was going on. The screeching of expensive tires against concrete. A door slamming open. A tall man in a tailored suit lunging forward, his face twisted with rage. "You think you can talk to me like that?" he shouted, voice echoing through the parking garage. She didn't back away. Didn't flinch. Just stood there, a black woman in a cleaning uniform, her eyes calm as a still lake while his hand shot toward her throat. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family, enjoy the story. People pulled out phones instead of helping. Some laughed nervously. Others whispered. The security cameras blinked their red eyes, recording everything. His fingers tightened around her neck. "Do you know who I am?" Something flickered in her eyes then, not fear, but something deeper. More dangerous. Her voice came out steady despite his grip. "I know exactly who you are, Mr. Vale. Question is, do you know who I am?" That's when it happened. That's when everything changed. But to understand that moment, that perfect, terrible collision of two worlds, we need to go back. 3 weeks earlier, when Zaretta Miles was just another invisible person cleaning up other people's messes. The morning had been ordinary. Atlanta sunrise painting gold across the skyline as Zaretta packed her lunch, simple sandwich, apple, bottled water. Her small apartment was clean but worn, photos lining the walls like silent witnesses to another life. She smoothed her uniform, checked her appearance in the mirror. 43 years old, face lined with experiences most people couldn't imagine. Hair pulled back tight, posture straight as a ruler. Another day, she whispered to herself. A ritual. A reminder. The bus was crowded. Someone's music leaked through cheap headphones. A baby cried. Zaretta stared out the window, her reflection ghosting against the glass. 22 minutes to downtown. Same as always. Vale Industries towered above everything else, 62 floors of glass and steel and money. A monument to one man's ego. Zaretta badged in through the service entrance, nodding to the guard. "Morning, Eli," she said. "Morning, Z. Ready for another exciting night of emptying rich people's trash?" She smiled slightly. Someone's got to do it. The cleaning cart waited in its closet, supplies organized with military precision. Zaretta checked each item, disinfectant, paper towels, glass cleaner, trash bags. Everything in its place. She pushed the cart toward the elevator. Executive floors first, then work downward. Standard procedure. The night shift meant most offices were empty, though some lights still burned where ambitious young executives tried to impress the boss by working late. Zaretta moved like a ghost through carpeted hallways. Invisible. Unwanted. Necessary. The CEO's corner office dominated the top floor. Logan Vale. His name etched in gold on a mahogany door. She knocked softly, procedure, then used her key card. The office smelled of leather and expensive cologne. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a god's-eye view of Atlanta. Zaretta emptied the trash, wiped down surfaces, vacuumed methodically. She paused at his desk. Family photos in silver frames. Beautiful wife. Perfect children. Charity galas where he handed over checks with practiced smiles. A life constructed for admiration. Something caught her eye. A yellow sticky note, "Fire Jacobs tomorrow." Incompetence. Just 3 words. Someone's livelihood dismissed between meetings. She continued cleaning. Not her business. Not her world. As she finished, the elevator chimed. Unexpected. It was nearly midnight. The doors slid open, and Logan Vale himself stepped out, phone pressed to his ear. He froze when he saw Zaretta, irritation flashing across his face. "I'll call you back," he snapped into the phone. He was younger than his photo suggested. 48, maybe. Handsome in the way wealth makes men handsome. Perfect teeth. Perfect hair. Eyes cold as January. "I'm working late tonight. Come back tomorrow," he ordered, not looking at her. "I'm almost finished, sir. Just a few more minutes." His head snapped up at her voice, calm, dignified. Not what he expected. "Do I know you?" he asked, eyes narrowing. "I've cleaned your office for 3 years, Mr. Vale." He studied her now, really seeing her for the first time. Something about her composure unsettled him. Most people shrank around him. She didn't. 3 years. And we've never met. A smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Well, I like to know everyone who works for me." "Your name?" "Zaretta Miles." "Zaretta." He tested the name. Unusual. "My grandmother's name." He walked to his desk, glancing at his reflection in the window. "You're thorough, at least. Place looks good." "Thank you, sir." She moved toward the door, eager to finish her rounds. "Wait," he said suddenly. "You missed something." She turned. Logan Vale was holding up a paper clip from the carpet, twirling it between manicured fingers. "Can't have that, can we? Standards matter, even for the small things." His smile turned cold. "Especially for the small people." Their eyes met. In that moment, something passed between them, a current of recognition. Two people seeing past surfaces. He saw something in her that troubled him. And she saw something in him she recognized all too well. The kind of man who breaks things just because he can. "Of course, Mr. Vale," she said quietly, taking the paper clip. "Thank you for pointing that out." As she left, she felt his eyes following her. Like a predator noting potential prey. But Zaretta Miles had faced predators before. And no one, certainly not this man, knew what she was capable of. What would make a respected businessman grab a cleaning lady by the throat in front of witnesses? And why didn't she seem afraid when it happened? Some people are not what they seem. And some battles are fought long before the first blow lands. Invisible. That's how most people at Vale Industries saw Zaretta Miles. A shadow moving between desks after hours. Hands that made messes disappear. Nothing more. But invisibility has advantages. You see things others don't. Hear conversations meant to stay private. Learn secrets. Zaretta knew exactly how many steps it took to walk from the service entrance to the executive elevator, 73. She knew which board members left food wrappers hidden in desk drawers. She knew the security guard on the 31st floor was sleeping with the marketing director's assistant. She knew everything. The day after meeting Logan Vale, Zaretta arrived at work 20 minutes early. Always did. Punctuality wasn't just professional, it was personal. "Early again, Z." Eli smiled, scanning her badge at the service entrance. "Traffic's lighter when you don't wait," she replied, her voice soft but clear. Eli was different from the others. He looked people in the eye regardless of their job title. Retired Army himself, he'd spotted the small flag pin Zaretta kept on her cleaning cart the first week she started. "Someone you lose?" he'd asked gently. She'd only nodded. Some wounds don't need words. Tonight, as Zaretta prepared her cart, she paused. The small American flag pin seemed duller somehow. She polished it with her thumb, a quick circular motion. Like muscle memory. Like a ritual. "Marcus," she whispered. Not a prayer. Not anymore. Just acknowledgement. The executive floors were her first stop. Plush carpets muffling her footsteps. Original artwork hanging on walls that cost more than her yearly salary. Glass offices where Atlanta's skyline served as wallpaper for people who barely noticed it anymore. She cleaned methodically. Every movement efficient. No wasted motion. No rushed corners. Hey, you. Zaretta turned. A young executive in an expensive suit waved impatiently from his office doorway. New hire. She'd seen his nameplate, Brandon Wilson, Junior Investment Strategist. There's coffee spilled over here. Clean it up. No please. No thank you. Not even her name. Zaretta nodded, adjusted her path. The spill wasn't accidental, the cup had been pushed deliberately to the edge of the desk, directly above the trash can, but just shy enough to miss. As she knelt to clean, Brandon continued his phone call. No, man, it's insane. These cleaning people make like what, $12 an hour? My lunch today cost more than they make in a day. Laughter. Yeah, but that's why we went to Wharton, right? So we never have to worry about that shit. Zaretta focused on the spill. Her movements remained precise. Her face betrayed nothing. Have you ever been in a room where someone talked about you like you weren't there? Like you were just part of the furniture? Leave a comment below if you've experienced this kind of disrespect. When Brandon's office was spotless, cleaner than before the spill, Zaretta moved on. No word of acknowledgement from him. None expected. Floor by floor, office by office. The rhythmic routine continued. On the 52nd floor, she found Rachel Kim, the head of legal, still working at 11:30 p.m. Oh. I'm sorry, Rachel said, looking up from a stack of documents. I didn't realize cleaning was happening now. I can come back later, ma'am, Zaretta offered. No, no. I'll just. Rachel gathered some papers. Actually, would you like some water or something? It must be tiring, cleaning all these floors. Zaretta blinked, surprised by the simple kindness. I'm fine, thank you. Rachel nodded, gathered her things. I should head home anyway. My kids will think I've abandoned them. She smiled tiredly. Some days I wonder if all this is worth missing bedtime stories. Zaretta's expression softened slightly. Children grow fast. You have kids? Rachel asked. A brief hesitation. No. The answer hung between them, simple but complex. Rachel sensed the weight behind it. Well, good night then, she said, awkwardly filling the silence. Thanks for everything you do. When Rachel left, Zaretta stood motionless for a moment. The interaction had shifted something inside her, a ripple across still water. In the executive bathroom, Zaretta caught her reflection in the mirror. Eyes that had seen too much. Hands stronger than they looked. She straightened her uniform, smoothed back a stray hair. Her phone vibrated. Text message, group meeting Thursday. Veterans Affairs Office. Don't forget. She deleted it immediately, tucked the phone away. At 1:23 a.m., Zaretta pushed her cart toward the CEO's office. The encounter with Logan Vale the previous night had left her uneasy. Something predatory in his eyes. Something familiar. His office was dark tonight. She used her key card, flipped on the lights. Everything in its place. Almost too perfect. As she emptied his trash, a document caught her eye. Staff evaluation forms. Her name highlighted in yellow. Zaretta Miles, night cleaning staff, background check required. Her hand froze. Heart steady but alert. Like hearing the first distant rumble of danger. She continued cleaning. Left everything exactly as she found it. But her mind was calculating now, assessing threats and exits. Old habits. The next night, the CEO's office was occupied again. Logan Vale sat behind his massive desk, watching as she entered. "Zaretta," he said, her name strange in his mouth. "Come in." She pushed her cart to the side. "Should I come back later, sir?" "No." He leaned back, studying her. "I've been curious about something. Your personnel file is thin. 5 years at Hartman Building Services before coming here. Before that, nothing." Zaretta's face remained calm. "Is there a problem with my work, Mr. Vale?" "No, no." He waved dismissively. "Excellent work. But I like knowing who's in my building after hours. Security concerns, you understand." He stood, circled his desk. "Too close now. Where were you before Hartman?" "Your employment history has a significant gap." "I was overseas," she answered simply. "Overseas." He repeated the word. "Doing what, exactly?" "Government work." Logan Vale laughed, the sound sharp and dismissive. "Government work? What, like embassy cleaning? Peace Corps?" Zaretta remained still, only her eyes tracking his movement. "Military," she said finally. "United States Army." Something flickered across his face. Disbelief, then amusement. "You? Military?" He laughed again. "What did you do, serve coffee to the real soldiers?" The air in the room changed. Temperature dropping despite the climate control. Zaretta's eyes held his, unwavering. "Combat medic. Special operations support." For a moment, Vale seemed unsettled by her steady gaze. Then his smirk returned. "Well, that's unexpected. Though I'm surprised you ended up cleaning offices after such heroic service." The last words dripped with sarcasm. Zaretta's expression didn't change, but something shifted in her posture. Subtle, almost imperceptible. The way a predator adjusts before deciding whether to strike. "We all serve in different ways, Mr. Vale." He moved closer, invading her space. "You know what I think? I think people make up stories to feel important. To pretend their lives matter more than they do." His cologne was expensive. His watch cost more than her yearly salary. His power in this building was absolute. But Zaretta Miles had faced worse men in worse places. "Is there anything else, sir?" she asked, voice steady. Logan Vale stepped back, smile fading. For a brief moment, he seemed unsure. "No. That's all." He returned to his desk, dismissing her with a wave. As Zaretta left, she felt his eyes on her back. Calculating. Dangerous. That night, she opened a drawer in her apartment that hadn't been opened in years. Inside, a worn leather case. Her fingers hovered over it, not quite touching. Some weapons aren't made of metal. Some battles aren't fought with guns. And some soldiers never really leave the war behind. Logan Vale wasn't born into money. He clawed his way up, leaving fingernail marks on everyone who got in his way. The Atlanta Business Journal called him ruthlessly innovative. Forbes labeled him a visionary with sharp elbows. His competitors used different words. Words they never said to his face. His morning ritual never changed. Awake at 4:30 a.m. 10-mile run regardless of weather. Cold shower. Protein shake. Black coffee. No sugar, sugar was weakness. By 6:15, his driver would have the Bentley waiting. By 6:45, he'd be at his desk while the city was still rubbing sleep from its eyes. Success required sacrifice. Required hunger. "Mr. Vale, your 7:30 is here," his assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Send them in," he replied, not looking up from his monitor. 3 men in expensive suits entered, 2 young, nervous, 1 older with silver hair and practiced confidence. Marketing executives from a potential acquisition. "Gentlemen," Logan said, finally looking up. "You have exactly 15 minutes to convince me not to fire all of you once I buy your company." The blood drained from the younger men's faces. The older one forced a laugh. "Always straight to business, Logan. That's what I admire." 14 minutes, 30 seconds, Logan interrupted, glancing at his watch. The meeting went as most did. People promising things they couldn't deliver. Exaggerating numbers. Hiding weaknesses behind corporate jargon. Logan let them talk. Watched them sweat. Noted who maintained eye contact and who looked away. "Your company's fundamentals are weak," he finally said. "Your market strategy is outdated. Your leadership lacks vision." The older executive started to object. "But," Logan continued, "your client list is impressive, and your Atlanta location is strategic. I'll have my team send over our offer this afternoon." Relief washed over their faces. 30% below market value, Logan added. "Take it or watch your stock plummet when I announce we're entering your space as competitors next quarter." No discussion. No negotiation. They'd take it because they had no choice. After they left, Logan stared out at the Atlanta skyline. 62 floors up, the people below looked like ants. Maybe they were. Have you ever met someone who thinks their money makes them better than everyone else? Someone who treats others like they're disposable? Drop a comment if you've dealt with a Logan Vale in your life. That evening, Logan stayed late. The quarterly report needed reviewing, and he trusted no one else to catch the details that mattered. At 11:47 p.m., he heard the quiet sound of a keycard at his door. The cleaning woman, Zaretta, stepped in, then froze when she saw him. "I can come back," she said immediately. "No," Logan replied, curious now. The background check he'd ordered had come back frustratingly incomplete. Military records were heavily redacted. Medical history unavailable. "Go ahead. Do your job." She moved efficiently around the office, emptying his trash, wiping surfaces. He watched her from the corner of his eye while pretending to work. "What were you really doing in the military?" he asked suddenly. Zaretta paused for only a moment. "I was a combat medic, sir." "As I mentioned." "Combat zones?" "Yes." "Where?" She continued cleaning, her movements smooth and precise. "Places where people were shooting at us." Logan frowned at her non-answer. He wasn't used to this. People normally fell over themselves to share their life stories when he showed interest. "You know, I donate substantially to veterans organizations," he said. "I hosted a fundraiser last year that raised over $2 million. "That's generous," she replied, voice neutral. He waited for gratitude, for impression. None came. "Do you enjoy cleaning toilets after serving your country?" The question was deliberately sharp, designed to provoke. Zaretta turned to face him fully for the first time. "I enjoy honest work that pays my bills, Mr. Vale. There's dignity in all labor done well." Something about her steady gaze made him shift in his chair. "Well, it's a step down from saving lives, wouldn't you say?" he pressed. "Every job matters. Even those that seem invisible." She resumed cleaning. "Someone has to pick up what others leave behind." Logan stood, irritation building. He wasn't used to servants who philosophized. "Let me see your hands," he demanded suddenly. Zaretta paused, then slowly extended her hands, palms up. They were strong, calloused. Not the soft hands of someone who only cleaned for a living. "Those don't look like a janitor's hands." "Cleaning specialist," she corrected quietly. "What?" "The job title is cleaning specialist, not janitor." Logan laughed, sharp and dismissive. "Fancy title for the same thing." She didn't respond, just returned to wiping down his credenza. You know what I think? He moved closer, enjoying the power of his height advantage. I think you failed at whatever you were doing before. Couldn't cut it. And now you're here, cleaning up after successful people. Zoretta's rhythm didn't change. Her expression remained neutral. We all end up where we're meant to be, sir. Oh, is that what you tell yourself? He picked up a pen, deliberately dropped it. Oops. Could you get that? It's what you're here for, after all. The office went silent. The pen lay between them on the plush carpet. A test. A power play. Zoretta looked at the pen, then directly into Logan's eyes. Something ancient and dangerous flickered there, just for a moment. Of course, Mr. Vale. She knelt smoothly, picked up the pen, placed it precisely on his desk. No anger. No resentment. Nothing he could use against her. It infuriated him. You know, I could have your job with one phone call, he said casually. Yes, you could. Doesn't that worry you? There are worse things to fear than losing a job, Mr. Vale. The way she said it made his skin prickle. As if she knew things about fear he couldn't comprehend. Are you threatening me? He asked, voice hardening. Zoretta's expression remained unchanged. No, sir. Just answering your question. She finished cleaning, pushing her cart toward the door. Ms. Miles, he called after her. What exactly are these worst things I should fear? She paused at the doorway. Living a life where you never see the people around you as human. Where power becomes permission. A beat of silence. Good night, Mr. Vale. After she left, Logan stood motionless. Something about the exchange left him unsettled. Most people cowered or sucked up to him. She'd done neither. The next morning, Logan called the head of building services to his office. That cleaning woman, Zoretta Miles. I want her assigned to a different floor. Not the executive level anymore. May I ask why, sir? Has her work been unsatisfactory? Logan stared out his window at the city below. She's disruptive. Find someone else for this floor. Yes, sir. I'll make the arrangements immediately. But that evening, when Logan worked late again, the door opened at the usual time. Zoretta Miles stood there with her cleaning cart. What are you doing here? He demanded. I requested a different cleaner. I was informed, she said calmly. But everyone else is assigned to other zones. I'm the only one with security clearance for the executive floor. Logan's jaw tightened. That's convenient. Not particularly, sir. She began her routine, ignoring his glare. I don't like being ignored, he said after several minutes of tense silence. I'm not ignoring you, Mr. Vale. I'm doing my job. Your job is whatever I say it is in this building. Zoretta paused, cloth in hand. With respect, sir, my job description and duties are set by the facilities management contract. I report to building services, not directly to Vale Industries. The technical distinction infuriated him. He wasn't used to employees who knew the boundaries of his authority. One call to the service company would result in no executive floor cleaning for at least 2 weeks while they processed new security clearances, she finished for him. Something I'm sure the board members wouldn't appreciate. Logan felt his face flush with anger. This woman, this nobody, had outmaneuvered him somehow. Who are you really? He asked, voice dropping dangerously low. For the first time, a hint of a smile touched Zoretta's lips. Just a cleaning specialist, Mr. Vale. Nothing more. But they both knew it was a lie. And for the first time in years, Logan Vale felt something he'd forgotten existed, uncertainty. Like the first tremor before an earthquake that might bring everything crashing down. Did you hear what happened on 62? The whispers followed Zoretta through the hallways now. Vale's on the warpath about something. It's that cleaning lady. Don't know what she did, but he's fixated. 3 days after their confrontation, Logan Vale began his campaign. Small at first. A complaint about fingerprints on his glass desk. A speck of dust on his bookshelf. A wastebasket emptied incorrectly. Each night, the same pattern. He'd wait for her arrival. Find something wrong. Document it meticulously. Ms. Miles, this is the 3rd time this week I've found the carpet insufficiently vacuumed, he said, voice clipped as he made a note on his tablet. Zaretta looked at the pristine carpet. I'll be more thorough tomorrow, sir. See that you are. I've started a formal complaint file. 3 strikes and building services will need to take action. She nodded, face unreadable. The battle lines were drawn. By the 2nd week, Logan's criticisms grew more creative. More public. Ms. Miles, you've been using the wrong cleaning solution on the conference room table, he announced loudly as executives filed in for a morning meeting. It's mahogany, not walnut. Different wood requires different care. Eyes averted. Uncomfortable silence as the powerful pretended not to notice. I apologize, Mr. Vale. I'll correct that immediately, Zaretta replied evenly. Only Rachel from legal frowned, lingering after others entered the conference room. That was unnecessary, she said quietly to Logan. He smiled thinly. Maintaining standards is never unnecessary, Rachel. Have you ever witnessed someone with power publicly humiliating someone who couldn't fight back? That moment when everyone watches but nobody speaks up. Drop your thoughts below, would you stay silent or stand up? The night shift had its own rhythm. Its own hierarchy. While executives slept in luxury homes, the invisible workforce kept Vale Tower running. Maintenance crews. IT specialists updating systems. Cleaning staff. Security. At 2 a.m., the 30th floor break room became their gathering place. Coffee burned too long on hot plates. Vending machines humming. Fluorescent lights casting everyone in unflattering blue. He's got it out for you, Z, Eli said, sliding a cup of coffee across the table to her. Eli Washington. 20 years Army before becoming night security supervisor. Gray at his temples. Kind eyes that missed nothing. It's fine, Zaretta replied, accepting the coffee. It's not fine. It's targeted harassment. You could file a complaint. She almost smiled. With who? Building Services works for Vale Industries. Vale Industries is him. Eli leaned forward. What did you do to get under his skin like that? Existed, I think. She sipped her coffee. Some men can't stand what they can't control. 2 other cleaning staff entered, conversation dropping to whispers when they saw Zaretta. Don't let them get to you, Eli said. People are scared. They're wondering if his vendetta might spread to anyone who associates with you. I understand fear, she said. Better than most. Eli studied her. They rarely spoke of their service days. Unspoken agreement. Some memories were better left undisturbed. You ever think about quitting, Z? Finding somewhere with less drama? The question hung between them. Simple words hiding deeper concerns. Zaretta's fingers traced the rim of her cup, considering. You can't quit a test God still grading, she finally said. Eli's eyebrows rose. Is that what this is to you? A test? She looked up, something ancient in her eyes. Everything's a test. Question is, who's being tested, him or me? The break room door opened again. Brandon Wilson, the young executive from the 52nd floor, stumbled in, clearly drunk despite the late hour. He stopped when he saw them, blinking in surprise. Well, look who's here, he slurred. The ghost people. The ones who only exist after dark. Eli straightened, security training evident in his posture. Mr. Wilson. It's late. Can I call you a car? Brandon ignored him, eyes fixed on Zaretta. You're the one. The one he's obsessed with. He laughed, the sound ugly. Poor cleaning lady caught Vale's attention. Never good when he notices the little people. Sir, I think you should, Eli began. Heard he's building a file on you, Brandon continued, swaying slightly. Heard he's determined to find something. Anything. He leaned against the doorframe. Man's like a shark that way. Once he smells blood, he doesn't stop. Zaretta remained seated, her posture relaxed despite the tension crackling in the room. Thank you for the warning, Mr. Wilson, she said calmly. Brandon's eyes narrowed. That's it? No begging. No tears. Don't you understand what happens when Logan Vale decides to destroy someone? I understand destruction better than you might think. Something in her tone made Brandon step back slightly, sudden uncertainty crossing his drunken features. Whatever, he muttered, grabbing a water bottle from the refrigerator. Your funeral. After he left, Eli exhaled slowly. That kid's going to be CEO someday. Exactly Vale's type, ambitious, ruthless, and completely blind to anyone beneath him. They've always existed, Zaretta said. Men who mistake cruelty for strength. The conversation shifted to safer topics. Weekend plans. Weather. The broken vending machine on 47. But the warning lingered like smoke after a fire. The next evening, Zaretta arrived to find a memo in her locker. All cleaning staff were required to attend a performance standards meeting. Mandatory. No exceptions. Logan Vale himself conducted it, standing at the front of the conference room like a general addressing troops. Standards have been slipping, he began, eyes scanning the room but lingering on Zaretta. Unacceptable in a building that represents excellence. For 45 minutes, he detailed new cleaning protocols. More documentation. More inspections. More opportunities to find fault. Any questions? He asked finally. 20 people. Silent. Ms. Miles. Nothing to add. No, military wisdom to share with the group. The room went still. Everyone knew about his campaign against her now. Everyone watching this public challenge. No questions, sir, Zaretta replied. The new protocols are very clear. His jaw tightened at her composure. Good. Because I'll be conducting personal inspections. Starting with the executive floor tonight. After the meeting, Rachel Kim caught Zaretta in the hallway. That was inappropriate, she said quietly. He's crossing lines. Zaretta nodded once. Yes, he is. I could speak to HR. Thank you, Ms. Kim. But this is something I need to handle myself. Rachel hesitated. He doesn't lose, Zaretta. Ever. It's like he can't tolerate the possibility. Everyone loses eventually, Zaretta replied. Some just haven't learned it yet. That night, Logan Vale stalked the executive floor like a man possessed. White gloves on his hands. Inspection checklist on his tablet. He followed Zaretta room by room, checking surfaces, running his finger along baseboards, scrutinizing trash cans. Missed spot, he declared, pointing to an imaginary smudge on a window. Zaretta cleaned it again. And again. Until even he couldn't pretend it wasn't spotless. His frustration grew with each passing moment. Each failure to break her. Your technique is inefficient, he snapped. You're wasting company resources with these movements. I'll work on that, sir. See that you do. I'm documenting everything. In the executive bathroom, he hovered as she cleaned sinks. Not enough disinfectant, he declared. The bottles are pre-measured, sir. Company policy for chemical safety. His face darkened. Are you contradicting me, Ms. Miles? No, sir. Just explaining procedure. By 3 a.m., his inspection had found nothing actionable. Nothing he could use. As Zaretta prepared to move to the next floor, Logan blocked her path. This isn't over, he said, voice low. I know there's something. Everyone has something to hide. Zaretta looked at him directly. Why is this so important to you, Mr. Vale? The question caught him off guard. What? Why does breaking one cleaning specialist matter to a man who runs a billion-dollar company? For a moment, genuine confusion crossed his features, as if he'd never considered the question himself. It's about standards, he recovered. About respect. Is it? They stood in silence, the power dynamic shifting imperceptibly between them. I'm going to find out who you really are, he finally said. What you're hiding. Zaretta's expression remained unchanged. When you do, Mr. Vale, I hope you're prepared for the answer. The next morning, Logan Vale called an emergency meeting with his security team. I want everything on Zaretta Miles, he ordered. Military records. Medical history. Financial statements. Everything. The security director shifted uncomfortably. Sir, we've already run standard background checks. Her military records are classified beyond our clearance level. Then get higher clearance, Logan snapped. That would require federal authorization. Then get it. Whatever it takes. Whatever it costs. Logan's voice rose. I want to know what she did in the military. Who she really is. The room fell silent, executives exchanging concerned glances. Sir, his CFO ventured carefully, may I ask why this individual employee warrants such extensive investigation? Logan Vale turned to the window, staring out at the city below. When he spoke again, his voice had changed. Quieter. More dangerous. Because she's not afraid of me, he said. And I need to know why. The Magellan acquisition files are missing. The words fell like a bomb in Vale Tower's executive suite. Security officers moved with urgent purpose, checking cabinets, searching computers, questioning staff. Logan Vale stood in his office doorway, face carved from stone as he watched the controlled chaos. When was the last time anyone saw them? The head of security asked. Yesterday afternoon, Logan's executive assistant answered. I put them on Mr. Vale's desk myself. Highly confidential. The merger details, financials, everything. Logan's eyes narrowed as Zaretta pushed her cleaning cart past the commotion, head down, focused on her work. Stop, he commanded. The hallway fell silent. Ms. Miles. Were you cleaning this floor last night? She turned, meeting his gaze directly. Yes, Mr. Vale. As scheduled. Did you see any files on my desk? Manila folder, red confidential stamp. No, sir. Your desk was clear when I cleaned last night. His lips pressed into a thin line. Interesting. Because my assistant placed those files there yesterday afternoon. Zaretta remained calm. I only know what I saw, sir. Or what you took, he said, voice barely above a whisper. The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Executives and security personnel exchanged uncomfortable glances. Sir, the security director began, we should review the camera footage before. Do it, Logan cut him off. And search the cleaning cart. Now. 2 guards moved toward Zaretta's cart. She stepped aside without protest, her face unreadable as they searched through supplies and trash bags. Nothing here, sir, one reported after a thorough check. Logan's jaw tightened. Check the footage. NMS. Miles. Report to HR at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be late. Have you ever been falsely accused of something you didn't do? That sinking feeling when you realize someone powerful has decided you're guilty regardless of the truth. Leave a comment if you've experienced that kind of helplessness. That night, Eli found Zaretta in the break room, staring into a cup of untouched coffee. "Heard about what happened," he said, sliding into the chair across from her. "It's a setup. Everyone with half a brain can see it." She nodded once, eyes distant. "You know they won't find anything on the cameras," Eli continued. "Because you didn't take anything." "It doesn't matter," she replied softly. "What do you mean it doesn't matter?" "Of course it. Evidence doesn't matter when the verdict is already decided." She finally looked at him. "This was always going to end this way." Eli leaned forward. "Z, you need to fight this. File a complaint. Get a lawyer." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "Some battles aren't won in courtrooms." "Then what's your plan?" "Just let Vale destroy your reputation. Your career." Zaretta's fingers traced the worn flag pin on her uniform. "I learned a long time ago, sometimes you have to lose the fight to win the war." Morning came with gray clouds hanging over Atlanta. Zaretta arrived at Vale Tower dressed not in her cleaning uniform but in a simple navy pantsuit, modest but dignified. Her hair pulled back as always, her posture military straight. The HR conference room felt designed to intimidate. Glass walls showcasing the city's 60 floors below. A long table where Zaretta sat alone on one side. Across from her, Logan Vale, HR Director Patricia Winters, and 2 security officers. "Ms. Miles," Patricia began, her voice professionally neutral. "We've called this meeting to discuss a serious breach of confidentiality and trust." "I understand," Zaretta replied. Patricia slid a document across the table. "The security footage from Tuesday night shows you entering Mr. Vale's office at 1:47 a.m. You remain for 23 minutes, significantly longer than your usual cleaning routine." "I was conducting a deep clean, as per the new protocols Mr. Vale implemented," Zaretta explained calmly. Logan leaned forward. "The footage shows you at my desk for over 4 minutes. Explain that." "I was cleaning the desk surface, sir. As instructed." Patricia sighed. "Ms. Miles, the missing files contained highly sensitive acquisition details. Information that competitors would pay handsomely for." "I took no files," Zaretta stated simply. "Your financial records show a cash deposit of $5,000 into your account yesterday morning," Logan interjected, sliding a bank statement toward her. "Quite a coincidence." Zaretta looked at the paper, then back at Logan. No surprise in her eyes. Only confirmation of something she'd already known. "That was my veteran's disability back pay. The VA finally processed a claim from 3 years ago." "Convenient timing," Logan said, voice dripping with skepticism. Patricia cleared her throat. "We've also discovered you made 3 phone calls to a number associated with Horizon Technologies, our direct competitor in the Magellan acquisition." For the first time, genuine confusion crossed Zaretta's face. "That's not possible. Phone records don't lie, Ms. Miles." Patricia pushed another document forward. 3 calls in the past week." Zaretta examined the paper. "This isn't my phone number. It's registered in your name," one security officer stated flatly. The pieces clicked together in Zaretta's mind. The perfect setup. Every detail carefully arranged. "We all know how these things happen," Logan said, barely containing his triumph. "Some people just can't resist what isn't theirs." The conference room fell silent. Patricia looked uncomfortable but resigned. The security officers stared at their notes. "I've been a model employee for 3 years," Zaretta said quietly. "No complaints. No issues. Until recently." "Are you suggesting something, Ms. Miles?" Logan's voice hardened. "I'm stating a timeline, Mr. Vale. Nothing more." Patricia sighed heavily. Given the evidence, we have no choice but to terminate your employment immediately. We've decided not to press charges, provided you sign this non-disclosure agreement and agree to never discuss Vale Industries with anyone. Another document slid across the table. A severance agreement. 2 weeks' pay in exchange for silence. Zaretta didn't touch it. Her eyes remained fixed on Logan, who met her gaze with cold satisfaction. "We all know what happened here," she said, voice steady. "Yes," Logan replied. "We do." For a moment, something passed between them, understanding, challenge, the promise of consequences. Zaretta stood, reached into her pocket, and placed her ID badge on the table. The small sound it made seemed to echo in the tense silence. "The only thing I've ever taken from this place is disrespect," she said quietly. Then she turned and walked toward the door, back straight, head high. "Ms. Miles," Logan called after her. "I hope you've learned something valuable here. About power. About consequences." She paused at the doorway, turning slightly. "I have, Mr. Vale. And I hope someday you will too." As the elevator descended, Zaretta stood motionless, watching the floor numbers tick down. Her reflection in the polished doors showed no anger, no defeat, only the calm focus of someone who had survived worse storms. In her apartment that evening, she sat at her small kitchen table, the silence wrapping around her like an old friend. 3 framed photos watched her from the wall, herself in desert fatigues, a younger Zaretta beside a handsome man in uniform, and a military funeral, flag-draped coffin, honor guard, her own face frozen in grief. Her phone rang. "Eli. They're saying you sold company secrets," he said without preamble. "Everyone knows it's bullshit. Rachel from legal is furious. Says the evidence wouldn't hold up in a real investigation." "It doesn't matter," Zaretta replied. "Doesn't matter? He destroyed your reputation. Your job. For nothing." "No," she said softly. "Not for nothing." Silence on the line as Eli processed her tone. What are you planning?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked to her closet, slid aside hanging clothes, and revealed a small safe embedded in the wall. "Some people think power means never facing consequences," she finally said. "I learned differently in war." "Zaretta," Eli's voice grew concerned, "don't do anything that can't be undone." She opened the safe, revealing not weapons but a single USB drive and a worn leather journal. "Some battles choose you, Eli," she said. "You don't choose them." After they hung up, Zaretta opened the journal, turning to a blank page. At the top, she wrote a single name, Logan Vale. Beneath it, she began to write, methodical notes, times, dates, incidents. The record of a different kind of battlefield. Her phone pinged with a text message, "Meeting tonight. Veterans Hall. 8 p.m. Important." Zaretta looked at her reflection in the window, the city lights of Atlanta spread out behind her like distant stars. "Time to remember who you are," she whispered to herself. And for the first time since leaving Vale Tower, Zaretta Miles smiled. The apartment door closed behind Zaretta with a soft click. She stood motionless in the darkened entryway, listening to the silence. Old habits. Always checking. Always alert. Her small apartment wasn't much, clean but spare. No luxury. No wasted space. But it was hers. Paid for with honest work and sacrifice. She moved to the kitchen, set down her purse, and carefully hung her navy blazer on the back of a chair. Routine provided structure. Structure provided control. Only then did she allow her shoulders to drop slightly. The mask of calm she'd worn all day could finally slip. The living room wall held what strangers might mistake for simple decorations. They weren't. They were chapters of a life. Proof of existence. Zaretta stood before them now, eyes tracing familiar shapes in the dim light. A shadow box containing medals, bronze star with valor device. Purple heart. Combat medical badge. Small metal symbols of blood and courage and loss. Her fingers brushed against the glass covering a photo of her unit. Dust-covered faces squinting in harsh desert sun. Arms around shoulders. The forced smiles of people living on borrowed time. We all made it home that day, she whispered to the empty room. Not every day ended that way. Have you ever looked at an old photograph and felt the weight of everything that's happened since it was taken? All the joy and pain and change captured in that frozen moment. Share your thoughts below if you've experienced how pictures can hold entire lifetimes of memories. The centerpiece of the wall was different. A man in dress uniform, smile genuine, eyes bright with promise. Staff Sergeant Marcus Miles. Her husband. Zaretta touched the frame gently, a ritual performed countless times. They fired me today, Marcus, she said softly. For something I didn't do. The photo offered no response. It never did. But speaking to him brought comfort, connection to the woman she used to be. Before. A man like the ones we used to talk about. The kind who think power gives them permission. Her voice hardened slightly. The kind who never faced real consequences. She moved to the kitchen, made tea with precise movements. The apartment remained dark except for the stove light. Darkness was familiar. Comforting. The veterans' meeting would start soon. She should get ready, change clothes. But something held her in place. Memories pulling her backward like gravity. Kandahar Province, 2011. The air thick with dust and diesel exhaust. Zaretta Miles, then combat medic specialist Zaretta Johnson, knelt beside a wounded soldier, hands moving with practiced speed. Stay with me, Rivera, she ordered, voice steady despite the chaos around them. Eyes open. Gunfire cracked overhead. Too close. The convoy ambush had separated their unit from support. 3 wounded already. Backup still minutes away. Miles, her squad leader shouted. We need to move. Now. She didn't look up, focused entirely on controlling the bleeding. 2 more minutes. He won't make it otherwise. We don't have 2 minutes. Zaretta glanced at the young soldier's face, pale, terrified, but trusting. Barely 20 years old. We're not leaving him, she said, voice leaving no room for argument. Get the others loaded. I'll bring him. The decision was made. The line drawn. Some principles couldn't be compromised, even under fire. The teakettle's whistle pulled Zaretta back to the present. She poured the steaming water carefully, watching ripples spread and settle. The memories came more frequently now. Since Logan Vale. Since the confrontation began. As if her past self was awakening after years of careful dormancy. She carried her tea to the small dining table where her journal lay open. The page with Logan Vale's name stared back at her. FOB Chirac, 2012. Zaretta sat in the medical tent, finishing paperwork as the desert night brought relative cool after 110-degree heat. Specialist Miles. She looked up. Captain Monroe stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. Sir. Walk with me. Outside, the base hummed with night operations. Helicopters thumping in the distance. Generators buzzing. The constant vigilance of war. The incident report you filed, Monroe began. About Lieutenant Collins. Zaretta's posture stiffened. Yes, sir. It's being buried. Orders from above. Her voice remained professional despite the anger flaring inside. Lieutenant Collins endangered civilians, sir. Violated ROE. A child died. I know that. You know that. Monroe's voice dropped. But his father is a congressman on the Armed Services Committee. So he faces no consequences. Monroe looked at her directly. This is how the world works, Miles. The sooner you accept it, the easier your life will be. Zaretta met his gaze unflinchingly. With respect, sir, I didn't join to make my life easier. The memory faded, leaving bitter residue. Some lessons repeated across different battlefields. Zaretta sipped her tea, thinking about power. About consequences. About systems designed to protect the privileged. Her phone rang, interrupting the silence. Eli. I'm outside, he said when she answered. Can we talk? Minutes later, they sat at her small kitchen table, the medallion wall watching their conversation from the shadows. Jesus, Eli whispered, seeing the medals properly for the first time. Bronze star with V device. Purple heart. Z, what exactly did you do over there? My job, she answered simply. Vale has no idea who he's messing with, does he? Zaretta's expression remained neutral. Most people don't look past what they expect to see. Eli pointed at the bronze star. That's not given for cleaning wounds, Z. That's for valor under fire. That was a lifetime ago. Was it? Eli challenged. Because the woman I saw walk out of that HR meeting today wasn't defeated. She was calculating. Zaretta remained silent, sipping her tea. The Magellan acquisition goes public tomorrow, Eli continued. Vale's masterpiece. His big power move. He's hosting a press conference in the lobby at noon. Something flickered in Zaretta's eyes. Interest. Calculation. Why are you telling me this? Because I know that look. Eli leaned forward. I've seen it before. On people who aren't as finished with a fight as everyone thinks they are. Zaretta stood, moved to the window. Atlanta's skyline glittered in the distance, Vale Tower tallest among them. I promised Marcus I was done fighting, she said quietly. What happened to him, Z? If you don't mind me asking. She didn't answer immediately. The question hung in the air like smoke. IED, she finally said. We were in the same unit. Different convoy. I couldn't save him. I'm sorry. After, I made a promise. No more battles. No more war. Just, peace. Her voice hardened slightly. Then I met Logan Vale. Eli nodded slowly. Some men just can't stand a woman who isn't afraid of them. It wasn't personal at first, she mused. Just a rich man used to being feared. But now. She turned to face Eli. Now it's about something else. Like what? Like whether people like him ever face consequences. Helmand Province, 2013. The Taliban commander sat bound before her, wounded but defiant. You Americans, he spat in accented English. You think your power makes you untouchable. Zaretta continued treating his leg wound, her touch professional despite his words. I'm just a medic, she replied calmly. My job is to keep you alive until you reach detention. He laughed, a harsh sound. Your generals, my warlords, same men, different uniforms. They send others to die while they count money and power. She secured the bandage, met his gaze directly. I'm not here for them. I'm here for the people caught in the middle. Something shifted in his eyes, recognition, perhaps. Respect. Then we are not so different, you and I, he said quietly. The moment passed between them, enemies finding common truth amid chaos. Z. Eli's voice pulled her back. You went somewhere else for a minute. She blinked, memories receding. Just thinking. About what? About how easy it is to become what you hate when fighting monsters. Eli glanced at his watch. The veterans meeting starts soon. You still coming? She nodded, moving toward her bedroom to change. I need to get ready. What are you going to do about Vale? Eli asked as she reached the doorway. Zaretta paused, her silhouette framed against the light. I'm not sure yet, she answered honestly. But Marcus used to say something about bullies, they don't stop until they face something they can't break. After Eli left, Zaretta stood before her open closet. Her hand pushed past civilian clothes to the back, where a garment bag had hung untouched for years. Inside, her old uniform. Desert camo. Patches removed but still military precise in its folding. A reminder of who she had been. Who she still was beneath the cleaning specialist exterior. She lifted the journal from the table, turned to a fresh page, and began to write. Not notes this time, but a plan. Methodical. Precise. The strategy of someone trained to assess threats and neutralize them. When finished, she picked up the photo of Marcus one last time. I promised I wouldn't fight anymore, she whispered to his smile. But maybe some battles find you. And maybe some promises were made to the wrong version of myself. She carefully placed the photo face down. Then Zaretta Miles, Bronze Star recipient, combat veteran, widow, reached for her phone and made a call she'd been avoiding for years. Colonel Davis, she said when a gruff voice answered. It's Miles. Zaretta Miles. A pause on the line. Yes, sir. I know it's been a while. Her voice strengthened with each word. I need to call in that favor you offered. The one about anything, anytime. She listened briefly, a small smile touching her lips. No, sir. Not in danger. But someone else might be. Someone who doesn't yet understand who he's dealing with. The decision was made. The soldier awakened. And miles away in his penthouse, Logan Vale slept peacefully, unaware that the war he'd started was about to be joined by an opponent who knew exactly how to fight it. Rain fell on Atlanta like judgment, heavy, relentless, biblical. Lightning slashed the night sky as Zaretta Miles entered Vale Tower for what she planned to be the last time. Employee termination protocol, she explained calmly to the night security guard, showing the HR paperwork. I have permission to collect my personal items. The guard, not Eli tonight, checked her paperwork, then nodded. 30 minutes max. I'll need to escort you. That won't be necessary, a voice called from across the lobby. Logan Vale himself emerged from an elevator, his usual impeccable appearance slightly disheveled. Tie loosened. Hair less than perfect. Eyes glittering with something dangerous. I'll escort Ms. Miles, he announced. Make sure she doesn't misplace anything else. The security guard hesitated, protocol warring with hierarchy. Sir, policy states. I own the policy, Logan interrupted sharply. And the building. I'll handle this. Zaretta's expression revealed nothing as Logan approached. His movements were too precise, his smile too rigid, signs she recognized from years of night shifts. The CEO had been drinking. Follow me, he ordered, turning back toward the elevator. The security guard gave her an apologetic look as the elevator doors closed, leaving Zaretta alone with the man who had engineered her downfall. Quite a storm, she remarked as they ascended, lightning briefly illuminating the glass elevator shaft. Logan didn't respond, just watched the floor numbers climb. The silence between them hummed with unresolved tension. Floor 58. The cleaning staff locker room. Her destination. You know what I realized today, Ms. Miles? Logan finally spoke as they walked down the empty corridor, their footsteps echoing. I realized I still don't understand you. There's not much to understand, Mr. Vale. See, that's exactly it. He stopped, turned to face her. Most people beg. They cry. They offer to do anything to keep their jobs. But you just accepted defeat. Is that what you think happened? She asked quietly. Something flashed in his eyes, irritation at the implied challenge. Your locker, he gestured sharply as they entered the empty staff room. Make it quick. Have you ever encountered someone who becomes more dangerous when their ego is wounded? That unpredictable energy when someone powerful feels challenged. Comment below if you've ever felt that shift in the air when a situation is about to turn ugly. Zaretta moved methodically, emptying her small locker. Not much to show for 3 years, a spare set of comfortable shoes, a cardigan, a small toiletry bag, a worn paperback. Logan leaned against the wall, watching her with predatory focus. You never answered my question, he said, voice lower now. Why didn't you fight harder to keep your job? Because it wasn't about the job. She continued gathering her things. We both know that. Enlighten me. What was it about? Zaretta turned to face him fully. Power. Control. Your need to break things that don't bend to your will. He laughed, the sound echoing harshly in the empty room. That's absurdly dramatic. You were simply an employee who stepped out of line. Was I? She held his gaze. Or was I the first person in this building who wasn't afraid of you? The question hung between them, heavy as the storm clouds outside. Lightning flashed, casting harsh shadows across his face. You should be afraid, he said, voice dropping dangerously. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I think I do. Zaretta closed her locker. And that's what really bothers you. Something shifted in Logan's demeanor, the careful mask of civility slipping to reveal something uglier beneath. You think you know me? He stepped closer. You're nothing. A speck. Do you have any idea how many careers I've ended? How many people I've crushed who thought they were smarter than me? Zaretta didn't back away. I'm sure the list is long. Men like you keep score. Men like me built this city while people like you clean up our messes. His voice rose as he moved closer, invading her space. You should show some respect. Respect is earned, Mr. Vale. Not demanded. His face flushed with anger. You walk around like you're better than everyone. A cleaning lady with delusions of grandeur. Cleaning specialist, she corrected calmly. What? The job title is cleaning specialist, not cleaning lady. She met his gaze steadily. Details matter. Something snapped behind his eyes, the final thread of restraint giving way. You think you're better than me, he hissed, backing her against the lockers. You walk around this place like you own it. Like you're somehow above it all. I don't own anything, sir, she replied. I just earn my peace. The answer seemed to inflame him further. He slammed his palm against the locker beside her head, the metal reverberating like a gunshot. Peace, he laughed bitterly. There's no peace in this world. Only winners and losers. And you lost. Zaretta remained motionless, but something shifted in her posture, subtle, almost imperceptible. The way a soldier adjusts before action. Step back, Mr. Vale. Her voice was quiet but carried unmistakable command. Or what? He leaned closer, alcohol heavy on his breath. Going to call security? File a complaint? No one would believe you over me. I don't need anyone to believe me. Her eyes held his without blinking. I just need you to move back. Now. The calmness in her voice seemed to push him further over the edge. His face contorted with rage and something else, the wounded pride of a man unaccustomed to defiance. You don't tell me what to do in my building, he growled, hand shooting forward to grasp her shoulder. In a movement too quick to follow, Zaretta shifted slightly. Not retreating. Just adjusting her balance. His grip found purchase, but not control. Let go, she said, voice still measured. This isn't a path you want to travel. You don't scare me, he snarled, fingers tightening. I should, she replied simply. Their eyes locked, a battle of wills and the flash of lightning through high windows. I could destroy you, he whispered. One phone call and you'd never work in this city again. Destruction isn't power, Mr. Vale. Any child with a match can destroy. She didn't struggle against his grip, yet somehow seemed entirely beyond his control. Real power is building something that lasts. Creating instead of breaking. Something in her words cut through his anger, making him hesitate. You don't know anything about power, he said, but his voice had lost some of its certainty. Zoretta's expression softened slightly, almost pitying. I know that you don't scare me, Mr. Vale. She looked directly into his eyes, her voice dropping to just above a whisper. I've already seen real fear, and it didn't wear a suit. For a moment, something like recognition flashed across his face, as if truly seeing her for the first time. His grip loosened slightly. The moment hung between them, balanced on a knife's edge of possibility. Then Logan's face hardened again, pride overwhelming reason. His fingers tightened on her shoulder as he leaned closer. Who do you think you are? He demanded, voice trembling with rage. In one fluid motion, graceful, controlled, precise, Zoretta removed his hand from her shoulder. Not violently. Not aggressively. Just, inevitably. Like water flowing around stone. I'm someone who's seen the worst humanity has to offer, she said quietly. And lived to carry the memory. She stepped aside, gathered her belongings, and walked toward the door. We're not finished, Logan called after her, voice cracking slightly. Zoretta paused in the doorway, turned to face him one last time. Yes, Mr. Vale. We are. Something in her tone, the absolute certainty, seemed to penetrate his anger. For a brief moment, uncertainty flickered across his face. Security will escort you out, he said, attempting to recover his authority. I know the way. She turned to leave. This isn't over, he shouted, following her into the hallway, voice echoing down the empty corridor. You think you can just walk away? You're nothing without this job. Nothing. Zoretta continued walking, her steps measured and unhurried. Logan's control shattered completely. He lunged forward, grabbing her arm and spinning her to face him. Look at me when I'm talking to you, he demanded, his face inches from hers. Zoretta didn't resist. Didn't struggle. Simply looked at him with eyes that had witnessed war. You don't want to do this, she said softly. Don't tell me what I want. He was shouting now, fingers digging into her arm. Above them, the small red light of a security camera blinked steadily. Recording everything. Logan followed her gaze upward, noticed the camera, and froze, sudden awareness breaking through his rage. Slowly, deliberately, Zoretta removed his hand from her arm. Good night, Mr. Vale, she said, turning toward the elevator. You'll regret this, he called after her, but the threat sounded hollow even to his own ears. As the elevator doors closed between them, Logan Vale stood alone in the empty hallway, the weight of what had just happened slowly sinking in. In the lobby, Zoretta nodded to the security guard and stepped out into the rain. She tilted her face upward, letting the water wash over her. Inside her pocket, her phone vibrated with a text message from an unknown number. Footage secured. All cameras. All angles. What's your next move? Zoretta smiled slightly as she walked away from Vale Tower, the rain masking the single tear that tracked down her cheek, not of sadness, but of release. The storm continued to rage, lightning illuminating the city in harsh, revealing flashes. And somewhere in the digital cloud, video files were being downloaded. Evidence preserved. The battle had shifted to ground of Zoretta's choosing. Breaking news from the business world this morning. Disturbing footage has emerged showing Vale Industries CEO Logan Vale in what appears to be a physical confrontation with a former employee. The news anchor's professional tone couldn't mask her shock as the video played beside her, Logan Vale backing Zoretta against lockers, grabbing her arm, his face contorted with rage. 6 hours. That's how long it took for the video to explode across the internet after being anonymously uploaded to 3 different platforms simultaneously at 6 a.m. By noon, hashtag Logan Vale was trending nationwide. By 1 p.m., international. The woman in the video has been identified as Zaretta Miles, a cleaning staff member recently terminated from Vale Industries under disputed circumstances. Zaretta sat in her apartment, watching the storm unfold on her laptop screen. No smile of triumph. No celebration. Just the steady gaze of someone who understood that justice and vengeance were different creatures entirely. Her phone hadn't stopped ringing, reporters, news outlets, talk shows. She answered none of them. Only one call had mattered, Colonel Davis, confirming that the footage had been properly anonymized to protect the source. The rest was up to the court of public opinion. And that court was in full session. Corporate America's ugly truth exposed, read one headline. CEO attacks black female employee, Vale stock plummets, declared another. Comment sections overflowed. He grabbed her like she was property. Look at her eyes, zero fear. Ice cold. Who is this woman? She's my new hero. Have you ever witnessed a moment of perfect justice? When someone who thought they were untouchable suddenly faces the consequences of their actions? Drop a comment if you've seen karma work in real time. It's a powerful thing to behold. At Vale Tower, chaos reigned. PR teams scrambled. Lawyers huddled in conference rooms. Security personnel were questioned about leaked footage. The Magellan acquisition press conference was hastily cancelled. Logan Vale himself was nowhere to be seen, whisked away by crisis management specialists to an undisclosed location. By mid-afternoon, internet sleuths had begun digging into Zaretta's background. The first breakthrough came from a veterans forum where someone recognized her face. Wait, is this the Zaretta Miles? From Operation Enduring Freedom? The question opened floodgates. A retired Army captain posted, I served with her in Afghanistan. Combat medic assigned to special operations. Saved my life and 3 others when our convoy hit an IED. Bronze Star recipient. Purple Heart. The real deal. Military records, heavily redacted but confirming her service, began circulating. A grainy photograph emerged, Zaretta in desert camo, kneeling beside a wounded soldier, face focused amid chaos. The narrative shifted with seismic force. Decorated combat veteran harassed by CEO. Bronze Star recipient working as janitor assaulted by billionaire. From battlefield to boardroom battle, the Zaretta Miles story. The top comment on every platform, she didn't even flinch when he grabbed her. At 4 p.m., Rachel Kim from Vale Industries' legal department went on record with a devastating statement. I witnessed Mr. Vale's targeted harassment of Ms. Miles over several weeks. She conducted herself with unfailing professionalism despite his increasingly hostile behavior. The company's ethics policies were clearly violated, and I provided supporting documentation to the board of directors. By evening, the story had evolved further. Financial blogs uncovered the timing. Vale's attack occurred the night before the Magellan acquisition announcement, a $2.3 billion deal now in jeopardy as Magellan executives express serious concerns about company culture and leadership. Vale Industries stock dropped 17% in a single day. Zaretta's phone buzzed with a text from Eli, you seeing all this? It's a nuclear meltdown over here. I see it, she replied simply. They're looking for you. News vans at the tower. Board members asking questions. Let them look. Inside Vale Tower, the board of directors convened an emergency session. 8 powerful people around a mahogany table, faces grim as they watched the footage for the 3rd time. It's indefensible, the chairwoman stated flatly. Completely indefensible. Logan claims she provoked him, another board member offered weakly. Says the footage is edited. The security team confirmed it's unaltered, the CFO countered. Complete footage from multiple angles, all showing the same thing. The military angle is killing us, the marketing executive added. We've built our brand on corporate responsibility, and now we have footage of our CEO assaulting a decorated veteran who was working as a janitor. You couldn't script worse optics. The chairwoman's phone chimed with a news alert. Her face paled as she read it. CNN just confirmed another story. Apparently, Vail falsified evidence to have her fired the day before this confrontation. Planted phone records. Fabricated a story about stolen documents. Silence fell over the room. How did they get that information? Someone finally asked. Anonymous source inside Vail Tower. They're calling it a systematic campaign of harassment. More silence as implications sank in. The company Logan Vail had built over 20 years was unraveling in less than 24 hours. We need to get ahead of this, the CFO urged. Issue a statement distancing ourselves from Logan's actions. Announce an investigation. It's beyond statements now, the chairwoman replied. The Magellan deal is hanging by a thread. Investors are in panic. 3 major clients have already called me directly asking what the hell is going on. So what do we do? All eyes turn to the company's head of legal affairs. Legally speaking, we have only one viable path forward, she said carefully. The board must remove Logan Vail as CEO, effective immediately. The words landed like stones in still water. He founded this company, someone protested. He owns 30% of the shares. And he's currently costing shareholders billions, the CFO countered. The bylaws are clear. In cases of gross misconduct damaging company value, the board can vote to remove him. We need 6 votes. Hands slowly raised around the table. 6. 7. 8. Unanimous. As papers were signed and statements drafted, a junior executive burst into the room. You need to see this, he said breathlessly, turning on the wall-mounted television. Logan Vail's face filled the screen, hair perfect again, expression controlled, seated for an exclusive interview. Damage control in action. It was a regrettable incident taken completely out of context, he was saying, voice measured. Ms. Miles had been terminated for corporate espionage. She returned to the building in an agitated state. The interviewer interrupted, we have footage showing you grabbing her, Mr. Vail. How do you explain that? I feared for my safety. If you knew her background. Her background as a decorated combat veteran. Bronze Star recipient. Purple Heart. Logan's composure faltered. That's not relevant to. Mr. Vail, we've obtained audio from earlier interactions where you mock her military service. Called it, quote, serving coffee to real soldiers. Would you like to comment on that? The camera caught it perfectly, the exact moment Logan Vail realized he was drowning. At home, watching the implosion, Zoretta's phone rang again. This time, a number she recognized. Ms. Miles, the chairwoman of Vail Industries board, greeted her. I hope I'm not interrupting. Not at all, Zoretta replied calmly. The board has removed Logan Vail as CEO, effective immediately. We'd like to meet with you tomorrow to discuss reparations. I'm not interested in money, Zoretta said. A pause on the line. May I ask what you are interested in? Justice. Accountability. Change. Those are broad terms, Ms. Miles. Yes, Zoretta agreed. They are. After she hung up, Zoretta opened her window to let in the evening breeze. The storm had passed. The air felt cleaner somehow. Her phone buzzed with another text from Eli, they fired him. They actually fired him. She didn't respond immediately, instead looking at the photo of Marcus on her wall. It wasn't about revenge, she whispered to his silent image. It was about truth. As night fell over Atlanta, Zoretta Miles finally allowed herself a small smile. But across town, in a penthouse apartment with a view of the city he'd thought he owned, Logan Vale poured himself another drink. Hands shaking. Eyes dark. He stared at Zoretta's image on his television screen, a photo from her military days now being broadcast across every news channel. "This isn't over," he whispered to the empty room, voice thick with something dangerous. "Not even close." On his phone, a private message waited. "Meet tomorrow. Parking garage. Level 3. Noon. Come alone. I know how to fix this." The sender, Brandon Wilson, the ambitious young executive who'd laughed at Zoretta while she cleaned his coffee spill. The pieces were moving again. The game changing. And somewhere in Atlanta, security cameras continued their silent watch, recording everything. "We regret to announce that Logan Vale is no longer associated with Vale Industries in any capacity." The press release was clinical, bloodless, corporate language masking the most dramatic boardroom coup Atlanta had seen in decades. No mention of the viral video, the public outrage, the stock plunge. Just 9 words that ended a 20-year reign. Logan Vale's parking space remained empty. His name already removed from the CEO's door. The speed of his erasure was breathtaking, like he'd never existed at all. But in the parking garage of the former Vale Tower, Level 3, noon sharp, Logan waited in his Bentley, hands gripping the steering wheel tight enough to whiten his knuckles. Brandon Wilson slid into the passenger seat, looking nervously over his shoulder. "They're rebranding," he said without greeting. "New name. New logo. Complete purge of all Vale references." Logan's jaw clenched. "They can't erase me. I built that company." "They're doing more than erasing you," Brandon replied. "They're replacing you. With her." "What?" Logan turned sharply. "What are you talking about?" The board offered Zoretta Miles a position. Not CEO, but newly created. Ethics and Compliance Officer. Full executive status. Corner office. Your corner office. Logan's laugh was brittle, disbelieving. "That's insane. She's a janitor." "Combat medic," Brandon corrected automatically, then flinched at Logan's glare. "That's how everyone sees her now. The hero versus the villain. Board's riding the PR wave." "And she accepted?" Brandon shifted uncomfortably. "That's the thing. She declined. Completely. Wouldn't even discuss compensation." Silence filled the car as Logan processed this unexpected information. Why would she turn it down, he finally asked, more to himself than Brandon. "It makes no sense." "I don't know. But she's doing something else now. Something that's making waves. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful response to injustice sometimes isn't fighting back, but building something new? Something better? Comment below if you've seen someone turn pain into purpose in a way that changed everything. 3 miles away, in a modest storefront with fresh paint still drying on the walls, Zoretta Miles conducted interviews. Beside her, Eli Washington took notes, occasionally asking follow-up questions. The applicant, a woman in her early 30s with a prosthetic right leg partially visible beneath her pants, sat with military posture despite obvious nervousness. Marine Corps, 2011 to 2018, she explained. Combat deployment in Helmand. IED took my leg. Been struggling to find work since medical discharge. Zoretta nodded, understanding in her eyes. No cleaning experience. No, ma'am. But I learn fast. And I know about discipline and attention to detail. Those are the qualities that matter most, Zoretta replied. Everything else can be taught. Eli slid a form across the table. When can you start, Sergeant Rivera? The woman's surprise gave way to a smile that transformed her face. Tomorrow. Today. Whenever you need me. After she left, Eli turned to Zoretta. That's hire number 6. All veterans. All struggling to find work. All people who understand what it means to serve something larger than themselves, Zaretta added, reviewing the schedule for the day. How are the equipment orders coming? On track. Suppliers gave us a discount when they heard about our hiring mission. Eli grinned. Being internet famous has its advantages. Valor Clean Services had existed for precisely 17 days. The idea had come to Zaretta during the board meeting, an alternative to their job offer and settlement money. Instead of compensation, she asked for their first cleaning contract and seed funding for a veteran-owned business. The board, desperate to rebuild their ethical image, had agreed immediately. Now, the small office hummed with activity, phones ringing, training sessions in progress, a growing list of clients displayed on a whiteboard. We need to talk about expansion, Eli said, reviewing their calendar. We've already booked more contracts than we can handle with current staff. So we hire more veterans, Zaretta replied simply. There are plenty still looking for purpose and paycheck. And the training program? We start next week. Colonel Davis found us 2 more instructors, both former military, both with commercial cleaning backgrounds. The front door chimed as another visitor entered, Rachel Kim, former Vail Industries legal counsel, now working for the rebranded company, Pinnacle Enterprises. Zaretta, she greeted warmly. The place looks amazing. The storefront had been transformed. Clean, professional, but with unmistakable military touches. A flag display. Framed photos of service members in various branches. The company logo, a simple shield with a star, above the words, Valor Clean Services, honor in every job. How's the transition going? Zaretta asked as they settled into her small office. Chaotic. Complete corporate overhaul. But necessary. Rachel placed a folder on the desk. The board approved the extended contract. 3-year cleaning services agreement for all Pinnacle properties nationwide. With the option to renew. Zaretta reviewed the documents, eyes widening slightly at the figures. This is generous. It's fair, Rachel corrected. And smart business. Your company's story is generating incredible goodwill for Pinnacle. That a veteran empowering angle is exactly what we need right now. We're not an angle, Zaretta said quietly. We're people trying to build something meaningful. Rachel nodded, chastened. Poor choice of words. I apologize. She hesitated before continuing. Have you heard from him? No need to specify who. There was only one him in this context. No, Zaretta replied. And I don't expect to. His lawyers are aggressive. Settlement offers, NDAs, trying to bury the whole thing. Rachel lowered her voice. But between us, he's finished in Atlanta business circles. No one will touch him now. After Rachel left, Zaretta stood by the front window, watching the street. Ordinary people passing by. Cars honking. Life continuing. A text message chimed on her phone, Colonel Davis, proud of you, Miles. Marcus would be too. Something tightened in her chest at the words, grief and pride intertwined. The next weeks passed in a blur of activity. More veterans hired. More contracts signed. The Valor Clean Services vans, navy blue with silver shields, became recognizable around Atlanta. Media attention followed. Local news at first, then national. Combat Medic's new mission, helping veterans find purpose through work. Morning shows wanted interviews. Business magazines requested profiles. Zaretta declined most, focusing instead on building systems, training staff, creating something sustainable. But one interview she accepted, a small veterans podcast. No cameras, just voices sharing truths about service and after service. The hardest part of coming home, she explained carefully, is finding purpose again. In war, purpose is clear. Survive. Protect. Complete the mission. In civilian life, it's more complicated. How did you find yours? The host asked. Zaretta considered the question. By remembering what my husband used to say, that service isn't where you are or what you do. It's how you do it. With honor. With excellence. With awareness that your work matters. The podcast went viral within military communities. Then beyond. Eli hung a framed quote in the training room, words from the interview, "There's dignity in all labor done well." 1 month after opening, Valor Clean Services employed 27 veterans. 2 months, 43. By month 3, they'd expanded to neighboring cities, the business model proving both profitable and purposeful. Zaretta rarely thought about Loganvale anymore. The past was the past. Her focus remained on building, not destroying. Until the day an unmarked envelope arrived at the office. Inside, photographs. Loganvale meeting with Brandon Wilson. Loganvale watching Valor offices from his car. Loganvale following one of their newest employees home. A note accompanied the images, "He's not done. Be careful." Eli found Zaretta staring at the photos, her expression unreadable. "Is that?" he began. "Yes," she confirmed. "He's been watching us. We should call the police. Get a restraining order." Zaretta shook her head slowly. "That's not how men like him operate. Legal barriers just become challenges. This is about wounded pride, not rational thought." Before Eli could respond, Zaretta's phone rang, an unknown number. "Ms. Miles," a woman's voice, professional but warm. "This is Catherine Magellan, CEO of Magellan Industries." Zaretta's eyebrows rose in surprise. Magellan Industries, the company whose acquisition had fallen through after Loganvale's downfall. "I've been following your company's development with great interest," Catherine continued. "Your veteran employment model, your growth trajectory, it's impressive. Very impressive." "Thank you," Zaretta replied, unsure where this was heading. "I'll be direct, Ms. Miles. Magellan is expanding our Atlanta operations. New headquarters. 60-story building in development." A pause. "We'd like Valor Clean Services to handle all facility management. Exclusive contract. 5 years minimum." The opportunity was staggering, exponentially larger than anything they'd secured so far. Game-changing. "That's a significant vote of confidence," Zaretta managed. "It's a calculated business decision," Catherine corrected. "Your company's reputation for excellence precedes you. And there's something else." Her voice took on a different tone. "The building will be going up at 1650 Peachtree. The former site of Vale Tower." The significance wasn't lost on Zaretta. Vale Tower had been sold, would be demolished. Something new rising in its place. "Poetic, isn't it?" Catherine asked. As Zaretta considered the offer, her eyes drifted to the photographs on her desk. Loganvale watching, waiting, planning his revenge. And now, without knowing it, he had given her the perfect opportunity to complete the circle. "When would you like to meet to discuss details?" Zaretta asked, decision made. After the call ended, Eli waited expectantly. "We just got offered the Magellan contract," Zaretta explained. "Their new headquarters. On the Vale Tower site." Eli whistled low. "That's perfect. Almost too perfect." Zaretta nodded, eyes returning to the surveillance photos. "And that's what concerns me. You think he's connected to this somehow?" "I think," Zaretta said carefully, "that when a perfect opportunity appears, you should look carefully at what it might be hiding." She gathered the photos, placed them in her desk drawer. "Some battles chose you. This one wasn't over yet." And somewhere in Atlanta, Loganvale watched and waited, revenge burning like acid in his veins. 6 months changed everything. Vale Tower was gone, demolished in a controlled implosion that thousands gathered to watch. In its place rose the gleaming framework of Magellan Center, 68 stories of glass and steel reaching toward the Atlanta sky. Zaretta Miles stood at the construction site perimeter, blueprint in hand, reviewing entry points and service access. No longer in cleaning uniform but in Valor Clean Services navy blue blazer, the company shield embroidered over her heart. No longer an employee but the CEO of a thriving business employing over 100 veterans. The security desk goes here, she noted, pointing to the lobby design. And the staff in trance? Catherine Magellan, elegant in a tailored suit despite the construction dust, indicated another area on the blueprint. Service elevators, badge-only access, dedicated staff facilities, all as you recommended. The cleaning crews need proper break rooms, Zaretta explained. Dignity matters. Catherine nodded. You've made that abundantly clear throughout this process. And I agree completely. They walked the site together, the veteran janitor and the billionaire CEO, discussing practical details as equals. No power imbalance. No condescension. Just mutual respect. We're still on track for the opening ceremony next month? Zaretta asked, checking her calendar. Absolutely. The governor confirmed yesterday. Press packages are ready. Catherine hesitated, then added, there's been another development. Brandon Wilson was arrested this morning. Zaretta's stride didn't falter, but her attention sharpened. The former Vale executive? The same. Apparently he's been working with Logan Vale, attempting corporate espionage against Pinnacle and Magellan both. Digital evidence, offshore accounts, the whole sordid mess. And Vale himself? Catherine's smile was cold. Implicated in everything. His remaining assets frozen pending investigation. The fall is complete. Zaretta absorbed this news with characteristic calm. Justice arrives at its own pace. Have you ever witnessed someone who tried to destroy you ultimately destroy themselves instead? That moment when you realize you don't need revenge because their own actions become their punishment. Share your thoughts on how karma sometimes works perfectly without our intervention. Back at Valor headquarters, now occupying an entire floor of a midtown office building, Eli waited with news of his own. Pentagon contract came through, he announced, unable to contain his grin. 2-year cleaning and maintenance agreement for 3 military installations. Plus veteran hiring preference. Zaretta allowed herself a small smile, a more frequent expression these days. That's our biggest contract yet. Not just big, symbolic. Eli shook his head in wonder. From cleaning toilets at Vale Tower to Pentagon contracts in 6 months. Who would have believed it? Anyone who understands that excellence speaks for itself, Zaretta replied, reviewing the contract details. We earned this through quality work, not connections. Valor Clean Services had become something neither of them had fully envisioned, not just a cleaning company but a symbol of veteran resilience and second chances. Their training programs now included certification courses. Their benefits package rivaled major corporations. Their waiting list of veteran applicants grew weekly. There's something else, Eli said, his tone shifting. Vale's been spotted back in Atlanta. First sighting in months. Zaretta didn't look up from her paperwork. I know. You know. Eli's eyebrows rose. How? Colonel Davis called. His security contact spotted Vale at the airport yesterday. She met Eli's concerned gaze. It was always going to happen eventually. You think he's planning something? For the Magellan Center opening? I think, Zaretta said carefully, that some men can't let go of wounded pride. It festers. Consumes them. Should we cancel our participation? Alert security. Zaretta shook her head. No. We continue as planned. Her voice softened. Some battles find you. You face them, not flee them. The morning of the Magellan Center opening arrived with perfect Georgia sunshine. The ribbon-cutting ceremony drew Atlanta's business elite, politicians, and media. Valor Clean Services staff stood proudly in formation behind Zaretta, men and women in pressed uniforms, many with visible signs of their military service. Prosthetic limbs. Scars. Eyes that had seen too much but now looked forward. Catherine Magellan's speech acknowledged them specifically. This building represents new beginnings. New partnerships. New understanding of what truly matters in business and community. No company exemplifies that better than Valor Clean Services. Applause washed over them. Cameras flashed. Zaretta maintained her composure, uncomfortable with attention but understanding its importance for her growing team. After the ceremony, as the crowd dispersed and workers entered the building to begin their first official day, Zaretta toured the facilities one last time with the management team. The executive floor is exceptional, the building manager praised. Your team has exceeded expectations in every area. That's our standard, Zaretta replied simply. Exceptional shouldn't be exceptional. It should be expected. In the gleaming lobby, Catherine approached with a small group of executives. Ms. Miles, she called. Allow me to introduce our leadership team properly. Handshakes. Respectful nods. Business cards exchanged. We're honored to have you, Ms. Miles, the operations director said sincerely. Zaretta smiled slightly. Let's make it shine. The contrast wasn't lost on her. 3 years ago in this same location, she'd been invisible. Now she was welcomed as a valued partner. As the executives departed for meetings, Zaretta checked her watch. Staff orientation would begin soon in the lower-level conference rooms. She headed for the parking garage to retrieve training materials from her car. Level 3. The same level where everything had changed months before. Different building now, but same location. The symmetry wasn't coincidental. Life rarely was. As she walked between rows of parked cars, footsteps echoed behind her. Familiar footsteps. Quite the success story, Logan Vale's voice called out. The cleaning lady becomes the CEO. Zaretta turned slowly. He looked different now, expensive suit replaced by casual clothes. Hair less perfect. Eyes haunted by failure. Mr. Vale, she acknowledged calmly. I heard you were back in town. Couldn't miss this, he gestured around bitterly. My building torn down. My company erased. And you, the architect of it all, celebrated. You were the architect, Zaretta corrected. I just refused to be your victim. He stepped closer, anger and desperation radiating from him like heat. You destroyed everything I built. No. Her voice remained steady. You did that yourself. One choice at a time. For a moment, something flickered across his face, recognition, perhaps. The briefest acknowledgement of truth before pride reasserted itself. It doesn't matter, he said, reaching into his jacket. Some things can't be rebuilt. Before he could reveal whatever he was reaching for, another set of footsteps approached. Eli, carrying 2 coffee cups. Thought you might need this before training starts, he called, then froze when he spotted Logan. Everything okay here? The moment balanced on a knife's edge, potential violence hovering in the air. Logan's hand remained inside his jacket, his eyes locked on Zaretta's. Searching for fear. Finding none. Mr. Vale was just leaving, Zaretta said quietly. Something in her tone, not threatening, just certain, seemed to deflate him. His hand emerged empty. His shoulders slumped slightly. This isn't over, he said, but the words lacked conviction. Yes, Zaretta replied gently. It is. They watched as Logan Vale walked away, a diminished figure disappearing into the shadows of the garage. Should we call security? Eli asked, handing Zaretta her coffee. No need. She sipped the hot liquid. Some battles end not with victory but with understanding. They stood together in the same spot where, months earlier, Logan Vale had grabbed her throat in rage, the moment that changed everything. "You ever think about that night?" Eli asked. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But only to remind myself, peace is louder than pride." Above them, the new building soared toward the clouds. Below, veterans prepared to start their workday with purpose and dignity. Around them, the city continued its rhythms, indifferent to individual dramas. "You know what Marcus used to say about power?" Zaretta asked, looking up at the gleaming tower. "What's that?" "That power isn't about who yells the loudest or has the most money or the biggest title." She smiled slightly. "It's about who stands tall when silence feels impossible." As they walked back toward the elevators, Zaretta felt a weight lifting, the final release of a battle carried too long. "Ready for what's next?" Eli asked. Zaretta nodded, thinking of the veterans waiting for training, the new contracts on the horizon, the futures being rebuilt one day at a time. "Always," she answered. The elevator doors closed on the past, opening toward possibility. And somewhere in Atlanta, Logan Vale sat alone, finally understanding what Zaretta had known all along, that true strength isn't measured by what you can break, but by what you can build when everything around you is broken. Power isn't in destruction. It's in dignity. It's in service. It's in standing tall when others would break you. The real victory isn't in defeating your enemies. It's in refusing to become like them.